This is the RC-300 unit. I had been using the RC-30 unit, which is right here, for quite a long time. The one nice thing about the RC-30 is these big rubber coated pads, foot pedals that are on here. These are actually very nice. On the RC-300 there's not enough room for large pedals like this. One of the really big advantages of the RC-300 is the fact that it has this pedal over here that you can program for any number of different uses as an expression pedal to control the effects, or the way I use it all the time is as a volume pedal, which is really invaluable. If you have a song that has an A, a B, and a C section, you can program these for that. Over here on the top left there's a pedal that's called the All Start Stop, and it's useful because sometimes you'll want to start and stop everything at one time, and obviously you can't press 3 pedals at one time. The RC-300 has the same 99 memory locations and 3 hours of digital audio that the RC-30 has, but as you can see, it has the great advantage of showing you the name of the memory location, whereas on the RC-30 you pretty much needed a cheat sheet. I used to use a 3x5 card with the names of the songs as they relate to the memory locations. But here you can program the name of the song right into the display for that particular memory location. Now, one of the really neat things about this thing is that on the RC-30 it was extremely frustrating to try to get your tempo correct, because you could only do it by pressing the tap tempo button, and you might get it close, you might not get it close, but there was no way to fine-tune it. You just had to keep trying until you got the tempo the way you liked it, and you didn't know if it was exactly the meter that you wanted. Whereas every time you move one of these dials, it will show up over here temporarily. That's a tremendous feature, except for the master level, because I guess it really doesn't make sense to do that. But let me just show you something. I will touch this fader for the first track, and over here immediately you will see it start to show where that sliding potentiometer is sitting. Now, if you've made any changes, what you'll want to do is you'll want to press this right button. So I'm just going to do that to illustrate. I'm going to press, and it says, do you want to write it back to the same? Yes, I do. You can initialize, you can exchange, you can do all kinds of really neat things when you write by selecting the action here. So if I press right, this is writing and it's done. Now, if you have the RC-30, you know that every time you press the right button that it's going to take a very, very long time, because it rewrites everything back into the memory. This machine is much more intelligent. If you haven't made any changes, it's almost instantaneous. If you've made a lot of changes, it will take longer, but it doesn't take longer if it doesn't need to. And remember that you should learn how to layer your recordings so that you write what you've got so far that you really like into permanent memory, but you're still using working memory here. And what we can do here, these green lights show that I've got these 3 tracks are in use. If I don't like something, I can come down here and I can press this stop button and hold it down for 2 seconds, and you will see the light flash up there, and now it's empty. So now this track is empty. If I press the left pedal, it's going to count in because I've got it set to count in, and it's going to start recording. Now it's recording. Okay, so obviously we don't want that. I'm going to stop it. 2 ways to get rid of that. One is to hold this down for 2 seconds, and you see it flash. Now it just got rid of the last overdub that I put in. You might have had valid information there already, and you just want to release the last thing, so that erased the last thing. If you hold this down for 2 seconds, it will erase everything. So now I've blown my first track, right? So now what do? Well, what I do is I come up here, because I haven't written this. If I write this right now, it's going to be a disaster because I'm going to wipe out my first track. So what I want to do is I want to take my memory locator and I want to go anywhere else besides where I am, come back. It's going to load it all back in from permanent memory. Now you see it's back where it was, because I didn't write my empty temporary memory into permanent memory. So get used to working like that so that you don't lose something that's valuable. Okay. The first bug has to do with the volume pedal. If you have a song that is programmed to use the volume pedal, to use the expression pedal as a volume pedal, and almost everything I do, that's the first thing I do, is to set up the expression pedal as a volume pedal. You can sometimes run across this odd thing, and I haven't really come up with a theory of exactly what causes it, but you might encounter this, and it's an easy fix. It's just it can really throw you. We're in program number 2, which is Stormy Monday. I am going to switch now over to program 1, which is the thrill is gone, and I've got my volume pedal all the way down, so it should be, this is programmed to use the volume pedal, so it should be all the way full volume. Now I'm going to hit the Alt Start, and I have a count in here. I don't know whether this affects it or not, but it just counted in, and it shows that it's playing, but do you hear anything? No. So you come over here, and you touch this pedal. Bingo. So what happens is, from an old firmware engineer's standpoint, what they're doing is the bug in the firmware, they're forgetting to read the initial location of the volume pedal, and it's as they boot their program for this song, that variable is set to 0. So they forgot to read the location of the current location of the potentiometer for this volume pedal. So that can really throw you. You can think that something has gone horribly wrong when if you're using the expression pedal. Don't forget, sometimes it misreads the pedal when you on the first application of the song. Now I can start, it'll work completely fine. Here it's counting in now, and now it's playing. So it's just when you change from another song, another memory location, into a song that uses the volume pedal initial condition is not read correctly. That's the first bug. Okay, another thing they haven't quite gotten right is something called the fade out. What you can do is you can select, remember we had talked about the ability to stop immediately or stop at loop end. You also have a third choice called fade out. So I'm going to set this onto track 1, and we're gonna listen to this. The way that you set the fade out length, if I exit this and I go into the memory edit, there's a setting in here for fade out. So I think it's just a parameter that runs from 0 to 200. I don't believe that's anything to do with time. I think that's just how fast or slow relative to the overall. I'm not sure. I haven't checked that out because I don't use this feature much for reasons I'll show you in a minute. So we're going to start this with a count in, because it's programmed to count in. Now I'm going to hit the stop, and it's going to flash, which is telling me it's going to start fading out. But listen. Okay, did you hear how the rhythms, the rhythm section, the drums were not faded out proportionate to the memory? This is something that they actually could have done rather easily, I believe, and the reason is because when you play something, you have full control over it with the volume pedal, and it does a really nice job of keeping the rhythm, whatever you've set the drum level on, proportionate to the audio. So it's not a huge deal, but it's just something that I believe makes the fade out feature pretty much something that I would never use, just because it sounds really odd to have the drums hang on like that at full volume and then just all of a sudden cut off as the rest of the audio is fading out. So anyway, that is pretty much it, and I hope that you got something out of this. This is pretty much for the working musician or the serious hobbyist, and I'm going to cover a feature called the single track mode, which is incredibly powerful in future videos. It's a way that you can handle A, B, and C sections in songs. But until then, hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you in the next video. You take care now.